Morning all, it is 21st of March 2022. We are officially in spring in the UK as of yesterday morning. Do you know, I was wondering whether when the clocks went forward, it appears it was yesterday. It's amazing what you don't know when you're caught up in a million and one other things. Anyway, I just want to point this little trail out in the sky and reiterate what I've been saying to people over the last probably month or so. That I feel strongly what is going on at the moment regarding our weather manipulation. You can see there's a couple over there as well. We've still got the haze left in the sky from the excessive brine spraying of Friday and Saturday. There's one up there now. I guess they're doing very similar at the moment. Trying to give us some brighter skies at the moment, which is a blessing to say the least. Things to be grateful for, rather than living in hatred all the time. Like I say, I am I don't know about 100% sure, but 99% sure that the evilness of the weather manipulation has long passed. I would guess that around the time of Storm Eunice, because I did some research into the storm names and found out that Storm Eunice meant good victory, I kind of get the feeling, with the way the world is going at the moment, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people don't see, depending on where you get your news from. There's lots of reports of code words being used for certain high profile figures that are physically being dealt with, shall we say. That's probably the most polite way to say it. And obviously there needs to be a narrative that carries on in the public eye, because you can't just break something like that wide open, because the whole world, who is totally not aware to it, would go nuts if that was revealed to them like that. A lot of people have done a lot of digging over the last year or two or three or four, or some people a lot longer, finding out the real truth as to what is going on and why has the world got to this point. And like I say, it's not as doom and gloom as people think. It really isn't. I think a lot of people who are spiritually in touch or aware of what we are have been aware that this spiritual battle was won quite a while ago. And it's just a case of timelines catching up and everything converging, and also hitting a critical mass of people that can kind of wake up the rest of the planet in a way that's not a massive shock to people. And it comes from people like myself banging on and picking a subject and banging on about it and banging on about it, and not being like worried what people think. I've had loads of people say, "Oh, you're mental, you're off your head, rah." And I'm like, believe what you want. At the end of the day, I know for a fact that I've done all my research. I know how many thousands of hours I've spent watching this stuff. I know how much time I've spent in nature. I understand nature as well as anyone in the world, I imagine. Like, I am very clued in. I'm very connected to the earth. I'm a Taurus. It kind of goes with the territory. I've been a gardener for 25 years. I've been into nature for 40 odd. Like, I was a fisherman as a kid. Like, I understand the signs. Weather is something that goes hand in hand with my life. I have to understand the signs to be able to do what I do. Otherwise, I just get soaked and I freeze and all the rest of it. And now, I mean, for the last 4 years, I've lived on foot. So, as a landscaper, that's pretty hardcore in itself. I mean, I live in the middle of the countryside, so jobs are 4 or 5 miles away. I have literally carried tools for 5, 6, 7 miles, like, to go to a job. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I understand the elements very well, and I'm also aware that weather has been manipulated for my entire life. and people who are 70 years old, it's been manipulated for their entire life as well. I personally believe it's been manipulated for well over 100 years. Whether we ever find out the truth regarding that is another matter. However, it's definitely been very, very, very much manipulated since the Vietnam War, which is what, 1967 or something like that. So we're going back a long, long way. And this is the reality of it. Morning, Mr. Sheep. How you doing? You're always very interested when I'm making my videos. So there you go. So I just wanted to point that out, like, that there's obviously different types of planes leaving different types of things in the sky. Some are making clouds. Like I say, it's very obvious to me, as somebody who films it and spends as much time as I do looking, that they are literally showing me these are the things we do. Do you know what I mean? And like, much as it feels oppressive and all the rest of it, it's very noticeable that, like, there was a spell where it was, the energy was so aggressive up until kind of that Storm Eunice, which kind of cleared the air, and then there's still a bit lingering around for a little while. But I would say you can feel it. If you're anything in touch with yourself or your soul or the earth, or you can feel the difference in the air, and it's not heavy. It's not going to be heavy with skies like this. However, there is a very big difference, and if this was bad stuff being sprayed left, right and centre, people would be getting ill left, right and centre, and they're not, are they? Like, people are getting ill through poor lifestyle choices, stressful relationships, trapped emotions, not looking inwards and dealing with their own problems and blaming externally. I've just put Messenger back on my phone after taking it off for X amount of months due to the metaverse really taking the piss, and I'm not standing for that. They provide a service at the end of the day. They have no right to control what anybody does or dictate how this and that and the other. Yes, if there's hate speech involved, I totally am on board with that. But I had a message today from someone who I had, let's say, an online falling out with over plagiarism, who decided to message me privately and tell me that my actions for blocking said person was childish. I don't mind talking about this publicly. I'm not going to mention his name. He knows who it is. I suggested to him maybe it was a good idea he looked inwards and worked out why he felt it was fine to name call and not get any comeback. And I think the whole world really needs to look at themselves and realise that when you get what you put out in life. It's as simple as that. And like, if you put out name calling and all this, oh, this is this type of behaviour, this is this, that is basically you projecting your shit onto someone else. So I'm going to leave this video there, but I'll leave you with that thought that we get treated by others how we treat others, and how we treat ourselves is exactly how we get treated back. So if we love ourselves and we speak to ourselves kindly, it projects out onto the rest of the world. If we don't, we project hate, and hate is not a good emotion. I know people say all emotions are valid. I've never really been too convinced whether hate is actually an emotion or whether it's something else. Is it just a kind of programmed thing that we're taught to be? Because we're not creatures of hate, we're creatures of love. And look around you at the things you love, be grateful for those, and life gets so much easier. Yes, do you know what? There's a lot of things around me I don't like. I don't like the amount of cars there are on the roads for a start. However, the pricing of fuel, hopefully, is making people think a little bit about their actions. That maybe it's not the best idea in the world to travel everywhere all the time, every fucking 5 minutes. Because regardless of whether you can see what comes out the back of a car, I guarantee you what comes out the back of a car is not brilliant. And as for electric cars, that's not brilliant either, because unless you're sourcing every single bit of energy from a totally renewable source, then they're not as good as they're cracked up to be, quite frankly. Plus all the components in cars are lots of plastics and stuff that never degrades, etc, etc, etc. So, like I say, I'm digressing now and I'm getting on to another subject. However, peace and love, people, and I'll leave it there.